There are items in your home that have been there for so long you've stopped noticing them, but each one is quietly shrink your space, making things messier and slowly affecting your sleep night after night. It might be a chair no one sits on an old entertainment center that takes up the entire wall, a large pot you haven't used more than twice a year, or a fake plant in thick corner that hasn't looked fresh in years. Today, we'll take a look at 15 items that many seniors have intentionally moved from their homes, and afterward, they realized their space truly felt bigger. Walking became easier, cleaning took less time, and they felt lighter inside. You don't have to get rid of everything. You don't have to live in an empty house. And you certainly don't have to part with things that warm your heart. But if there are items that now online make your backache when you lift them to clean or trip you up once a week, this list might help you see them in a new way. In today's video, you'll see specific examples like oversized coffee tables, end-of-bed benches that are never used, display cabinets filled with things your grandkids don't even recognize, or giant speakers from the days before Bluetooth. Each section won't just suggest what to toss, but also gently remind you that your home doesn't need to be full full, it only needs to support how you live, help you move easily, find things quickly, and breathe calmly every day. Stay with us until item number 13, because it's the one people hesitate to remove the most but end up being most thankful they did. And if you live in a home that always feels crowded, even though you haven't brought anything new in 4 years, maybe today is the day to start fresh with just a few things that are small in size, but huge in how much space they quietly take up. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you find this helpful. Your support means world to us and helps us keep bringing meaningful content like this. Thank you for being here. Now, let's start with item number 1. One large wall-to-wall entertainment centers. Back then, a big TV cabinet was the centerpiece of the living room, holding your DVD player, stereo speakers, and a few decorations. But now the TV is mounted on the wall, DVD players are gone, and speakers are compact. What's left is a bulky piece of wood blocking light and crowding the space. A friend told me that only after removing that giant cabinet and replacing it with a small wall shelf did she realize how much room she had. She could fit a reading chair by the window, clean the floor easily, and feel the space breathe again. These old units are heavy and hard to clean around. If you no longer use the drawers or shelves, think about removing part of them or replacing them with something smaller. You can keep the bottom half if it's still useful. But if the entire thing doesn't serve a real purpose anymore, letting it go could be the first step toward a brighter, more livable room. 2 oversized coffee tables and unused stools. Many people keep a big coffee table in the middle of the living room just because it's always been there. But over time it becomes more of a storage surface than a place to enjoy tea or host guests. For older adults, large tables can be a safety risk, making it harder to walk around and easier to trip, especially in low light at night. Some tables are low, have sharp corners, and are heavy to move when cleaning. Small stools or extra seats are often tucked under shelves or against fuel, but they don't get used and make the space feel more crowded. One woman shared that after removing her large coffee table and leaving just 2 chairs by the wall, her living room looked brighter. Her grandkids could sit and play on the floor, and she no longer bumped into anything when walking to get water or open the door. You don't have to throw out your coffee table completely, but if you rarely use it or it takes up too much space, try removing it for a few days and notice how you feel. You could replace it with a small rolling table or a tea tray next to your chair so the center of the room becomes a clear open space where you can move your silly breathe better and feel lighter every time you walk in. Free unused exercise equipment. Many people once bought treadmills, stationary bikes, or vibration machines, hoping to stay active at home. But after a few months, These machines often end up as co-tracks or places to drop shopping bags. No one denies the benefits of exercise. But if something large is taking up space in your living room or bedroom, and you rarely use it, it's no longer a health device. It's just a bulky object collecting dust and getting in your way. One man kept a treadmill in his living room for 4 years without turning it on, and simply because it was still in good shape. And he felt guilty about the money he spent. But after his daughter gently brought it up, he gave it to someone who would use it and placed a small chair and a potted plant in its place. The room looked brighter, was easier to walk through. More importantly, he no longer felt bad every time he glanced at that corner. If you have a piece of fitness equipment at home, ask yourself when you last used it whether it still suits your current health needs. And if not, consider selling it, donating it, or moving it to storage. Sometimes a clear space where you can stretch your back and do light morning movements is more helpful than a bulky machine you'll never feel like climbing onto. For decorative chairs no one sits in. In many older adults' bedrooms or bathrooms, you might find a small stool, a fabric chair, or a decorative bench placed in a corner, originally meant for changing clothes or adding charm to the room. Viewed over time, these chairs are rarely used and often turn into places where clothes, towels, or random bags are tossed. Something that was meant to make life easier ends up adding visual clutter and creates the feeling that the room is always messy, even if it's not. Only older couples said that after removing the chair beside their bed, they felt the room instantly more spacious. They also stopped the habit of piling things on it and started putting items away right after use. In bathrooms, small chairs placed just for looks or for occasional use can attract mold, gather dust, and block walkways, especially in damp spaces. They can even be dangerous if they cause you to slip if the chair no longer supports an actual daily habit and hasn't been used in ages. Removing it might be the simplest way to reclaim space, making the room feel lighter, easier to clean, and safer to move through. 5. Entryway tables in narrow hallways. A small table by the door can be convenient for holding keys, mail, or a small vase. But if your entryway is narrow or the door opens close to fuel, that table might become more of a hazard than a help. For seniors, squeezing past a piece of furniture several times a day doesn't cause an accident right away, but it slowly becomes a daily inconvenience. One man said that every time he opened his front door, he had to twist sideways to avoid bumping the table, and he often knocked over the vase, which became more annoying than useful. After removing the table, he installed a wall hook for his keys and used a small hanging pouch for mail. Everything still had its place, but this space felt wider and easier to walk through. If you have a table near your door that no longer serves its original purpose, it might be time to take another look. Just because a table is there doesn't mean it's making life easier, especially if it forces you to twist your body or slow down every time you come home. Sometimes letting go of edible is how you open the way back into your own home. 6 toy shelves in the living room. Many grandparents keep a corner of the living room for their grandkids, often with a small shelf or a box of toys. The intention, sweet, giving children a place to play without turning the whole house upside down. But if the kids don't visit often, or if they've outgrown the toys, that corner can quickly become the messiest part of the house. One person said that every time they looked over, all they saw were toy cars, old books, and stuffed animals scattered around. People hold onto these items out of love, not wanting to throw away things that once brought joy. But if they're no longer being used, keeping an entire toy shelf in the middle of the living room means sacrificing common space for a need that no longer exists. You don't have to throw everything away. Just gather it into one small box and move it to another room, or make an agreement that toys only come out when grandkids visit and they get put back afterward. Doing this not only helps the room feel tidier, but also brings peace of mind every time you clean and helps protect your right to feel at ease in your own space. You've made it nearly halfway through. And if these thoughts are starting to speak to you, please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. Your support gives us the strength to keep sharing more gentle, helpful ideas that make daily life just a little bit lighter. 7. Oversized or faded plants, real or fake? A healthy plant can soften a room and bring it to life. But if it is too large, no longer growing, or a fake plant that is faded or dusty, it might be taking more than it is giving. Artificial plants collect as quickly and without proper care can make a room feel old and tired. One woman kept a tall fake tree near her window for 10 years because it was a birthday gift, but after tripping over it while closing the curtains, she finally let it go. That corner felt brighter, cleaning became easier, and she no longer felt guilty every time she saw it. If you love greenery, keep the living plants that are still healthy, place them where light and water are easy to reach, and let go of those that are no longer thriving or bringing joy. Indoor plants should represent life, not obstacles you avoid every day. 8. Bulky kitchen appliances you never use. In many kitchens, there is always some large appliance that was bought with good intentions. Maybe a slow cooker, a juicer, an air fryer, or a bread maker. But after a few uses, it gets pushed to a high shelf or a dark corner, taking up valuable space. One woman said she kept a big slow cooker for years, even after switching to a vegetarian diet, just because she felt guilty about wasting money and thought she might use a tagon. That day never came, and the pot just sat there collecting dust, making it harder to reach the items she used out. After giving it away, she had more space in her cabinets, and her kitchen felt lighter. If you have something like this, ask yourself when you last used it and whether it still fits your lifestyle. If not, consider giving it to someone who needs it or moving it to long-term storage. Your kitchen should feel clear and easy, not make you sigh every time you open a cabinet. 9. Oversized furniture that doesn't match your space. Some furniture is beautiful and sturdy, but simply too big for the room, like a thick armchair, a deep sofa, or a 6-seat dining table. In a home where only 2 people now live, these pieces are not wrong, but in a small space, they make the room feel tight and hard to move around. One man bought a plush sofa with wide arms, hoping it would be perfect for relaxing, but years later, he always sat in the same small corner, and the rest stayed untouched. Cleaning it was a struggle, especially with deep cracks that caught dust. After switching to a smaller chair, he added an audio table and saw his room become brighter and more open. If you must twist your body to pass between furniture or feel like light is always blocked, maybe it is time to rethink what you are keeping. Your home does not have to be big, just wide enough for you to move freely and feel at ease. 10. Benches or sofas placed at the foot of the bed, in magazines or online. A bench at the foot of the bed looks stylish and cozy, but in real life, it can be a problem, especially for older adults. It makes changing sheets harder, vacuuming more difficult, and even getting out of bed can be less comfortable. One woman had a cushioned bench there for years, thinking she would sit toddlers or read, but mostly it held blankets and laundry. After removing it, the room felt more open. Cleaning was easier, and she started her mornings feeling calm. The bedroom should be your most peaceful space where you move gently and briefly. If something there causes tension or forces you to step around, it may be the first thing to remove. 11. Extra chairs in bathrooms or narrow hallways. Some people put a small chair in the bathroom to sit on or to hold towels, but in tight spaces, it often becomes a problem. Humidity causes mold. Chair legs can be slippery, and if noticed often, they only get in the way. One person placed a chair for hair washing but later switched to using the sink, and chair became wet, unused, and a spot for dirty laundry. In narrow halls, A chair for putting on shoes can shrink the walkway and block movement, especially if you carry items or use a walker. One man removed the chair from his bathroom after realizing he had never sat on it all year. He added a wall handle instead and felt safer right away. If you are keeping a chair, just in case, ask yourself if it truly helps or just makes life more difficult. Sometimes removing one little used item can quietly improve your everyday comfort. 12. Old speaker systems that take up too much space. Years ago, large stereo systems were a proud part of many homes with tall speakers, heavy amplifiers, and wall units. But music tech has changed, and great sound now fits in the palm of your hand. Many older people still keep big sound systems for memories or for guests, but they are rarely used, hard to clean, collect dust, and can be risky with pets or children. One woman had a tall speaker until her cat knocked it over, and that made her think it. After removing it, the room looked brighter and cleaner, and she found it easier to sweep the floor. If you still keep old speakers, try a small wireless device or play music on your phone. You may notice a change not only in the sound, but in the mood of your whole room. 13. Display cabinets that only hold memories, not use. Glass cabinets were once for special things like tea sets, small figures, travel souvenirs, or medals, but now they are often left closed and just take up space without being part of daily life. One woman said her display cabinet had been there for more than 30 years. Every time she cleaned it, she had to remove each item and place it back the same way. But no one asked about the things inside anymore, not even herself. After removing the cabinet and picking a few meaningful pieces to show on a shelf or wall, her home looked neater and felt brighter, and her heart felt lighter too. Letting go of a display cabinet does not mean forgetting the past. It means choosing what truly matters today. Look at each item and ask yourself what makes you smile and what you are keeping just from guilt. Keep the pieces that touch your heart and let the rest go, so your home reflects who you are now, not just who you once were. 14. Seasonal decorations are rarely used every holiday season. We tend to buy a few new decorations like wreaths, lights, tablecloths, scented candles, or little figurines. These things bring joy when displayed, but once the holiday is over, if not carefully stored and reused, they quietly become clutter. One woman kept 4 full boxes of decorations from Christmas to Easter, but after reviewing them, she realized only a few items were taken out each year. The rest were faded, outdated, or no longer suited to her home. She reduced from 4 boxes to 1 small bin, enough to bring a festive touch without making her home feel crowded. If you are storing lots of seasonal items, take them out and look at each one. Ask yourself when you last used it and whether it still brings a good feeling. If it just makes you sigh when setting up and packing away, maybe it is time to let it go. Your home does not need to be filled with decorations to feel warm, just enough to make you feel welcome every time you walk in. 15. Living rooms are saved for guests who rarely come. Many homes still keep a formal living room, almost enriched with covered chairs, glass coffee tables, and touched display cabinets, and a feeling that the space is waiting for someone else. But if guests only visit a few times a year, then a whole room left unused becomes a missed opportunity. One woman said that in 20 years, she hadn't opened her living room 10 times. The rest of the time, it stayed closed and collected dust. After her son suggested a change, she removed extra furniture and turned their room into a reading space with a soft chair, good lighting, and a small table for crafts. It became the place she used every single day, and she wished she had made the change sooner. If you are keeping owl room just in case someone visits, ask yourself who truly deserves to be welcome daily. That person is you. Guests can still be received anywhere warm and kind in your home, but the most beautiful and comfortable space should be for the one who lives there every day. You have just gone through 15 items that many older adults have removed to bring back a sense of space, cleanliness, and ease into their homes. These items weren't bad. They were not mistakes. They were once useful, meaningful, and had every reason to stay. But over time, they simply became less needed. Letting go does not mean losing. It means gently choosing again, removing what now takes your energy, clutters your mind, or blocks your daily movement and comfort. Whether it is a bench at the foot of your bed, a slow cooker gathering dust, or a full display cabinet of memories, you always have the right to choose what stays and what goes. As long as your home truly serves your life today, not just the past, you are not decluttering for someone else. You are not following the trend. You are doing it for you, so that every time you come home, you feel welcomed, so that each morning you walk freely, open the window, and breath with it, needing to step around anything. Thank you for staying with us all the way through. If this content has helped you in any way, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment to let us know you are there. Your support means everything. We deeply appreciate you. See you again in the next